Okay, everybody, it is I, Hellgear, and it is time today for some Q&A. Many of you guys asked me various questions about Snoopy's Town Tale and the little folks in general, so I'm going to take this time to talk about these things. And as always, feel free to ask me these questions that you might have regarding this game in the comment section below. And if I don't get back to you in a comment, I usually get to you guys and the answers in one of these Q&A sessions. So, let's get into these questions. So, first question. When did you start playing Snoopy's Town Tale? I started playing Snoopy's Town Tale around, I want to say late November, early December 2016. Yeah, and I played on a cell phone. And from playing it at that short time on a cell phone, I learned two things. One, don't play this game on a cell phone. This cell phones may not have the bandwidth going through the pipe to handle this sort of game. And two, don't play on a super duper small screen. Cannot do that. But yeah, around the winter event, which led into, what was it, the Super Bowl event, that's when I started playing. It wasn't until January 2017 where I decided to just damn the torpedoes and get into this as a series. Next question. What do you think is the main reason why Snoopy's Town Tale is still going strong after so many years? It's the communities. I apparently am a part of a conglomerate of communities. I go through multiple Charlie Brown communities, and of these communities, many of them play Snoopy's Town Tale. It's not just, oh, we like the Peanuts, but it's, oh, we like the Peanuts and even play Snoopy's Town Tale too. And are like, hey, you play this. What are some things that you can help me do to get to X so that I'm happy with Y? And the community has voiced a lot when it comes to this game, as far as improvements to the game, character inclusion in the game, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's the community that makes this game. Next question. Have you covered any of the other games made by Pixar? There are actually 4, to my knowledge, of simulation games done by Pixar. Snoopy's Town Tale is the one that I more often cover. This is the one that kind of has a nice dear place in the old ticker of mine. And while I don't know everything, I know enough to get by. And that one was evident when it came to certain characters. When it first started, I did a short video on Addams Family Mystery Mansion. I guess I would number these in order, but when I played Addams Family Mystery Mansion and saw how it was, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to let this one go. Well, and I'm not mad at that. There are certain things that come from Addams Family Mystery Mansion that are incorporated into Snoopy's Town Tale. The big one that I've been told is the event system that we have. Mystery Mansion's event system is essentially the event system that Pixar uses for this game. The next one is Goosebumps Horror Town. And as interesting as Goosebumps is, and, tweenage to young teenage Hellgear read the R.L. Stine Goosebumps books, I don't cover that. I figured I would let somebody else do that. The one person that I have seen peep into, and if not do content on that, is Grimoken. So if you get a chance, hit up his page. I'm going to make the note to link to his page in the description below so you guys can see what he has done as far as Goosebumps Horror Town. And lastly, is this one based off of this CGI movie called Wonder Park. I personally did not get to see Wonder Park. I barely know much of the plot, and I haven't looked at the game. From what people have told me, Wonder Park is like a watered-down version of this game called Planet Coaster. If you've played Wonder Park, tell me in the comment section below what it's like for you. Next question, and this is one of the big ones. How do I get X character from the past game? Depending on the past character, you either A, will have to wait for Pixel to let this character become available again, or B, the unfortunate part, you can't. One of the things that Pixel has when it comes to characters is that issue called exclusive rights. And when the game changed, rights of certain characters just stopped. So if you weren't playing Snoopy's Town Tale during the time, you're kind of SOL when it comes to these characters. And the prime example right here is Dolores. Dolores was one of those characters that, unfortunately, and Pixel has said this, they don't have the rights to issue this character out again, which is unfortunate because Dolores came with one of the most interesting events for Snoopy's Town Tale. Another one, which I want to bring up, well, let's go a little bit further down the line. I believe Grimoken brought this one up, and that's Mimi. So, Mimi was one of the Easter characters from earlier on in the game. And I'm glad I managed to get this girl. She is something else. And it's nice to know that getting the characters is just one of the main parts about this game that makes it so interesting. Some characters, for example, let's say Naomi, for example, okay? I believe they've offered Naomi before, so there's a good chance they can offer her again. And Snoopy's dad is another example of this one. Snoopy's dad, when he first came out, I didn't get, and now it's mainly because of the pricing issue. But when Snoopy's dad came around the second time, I was able to pick him up. And someone actually does ask me this: how many characters in Snoopy's Town Tale do you have? And as you can see from me flipping through all of this, this is the current character standing all the way up until the Thanksgiving event for Snoopy's Town Tale, which, if it's not happening soon, it should already be up by the time you're watching this. Be sure to restart your device and check the App Store for it. Which goes into the next question. What are you playing Snoopy's Town Tale on? I am playing currently, because I've gone through 2 tablets of playing this. This is my current tablet. It is a Galaxy S5e tablet. It is a gaming tablet. I mean, this thing actually has some really good reviews by people who did it on YouTube. And when I bought it, and when I saw it for sale, it was $400. Then again, that's par for the course, actually. And it's one of those things that I actually take really good care of. It's too bad Samsung is pretty ass about customer support when it comes to certain things. Next question. What was the most memorable event, in your opinion, throughout your time playing Snoopy's Town Tale? Um, there were two. The first one, I go back to Dolores because that was the Town Tale Safari, and I'm gonna talk about the Town Tale Safari because I have a whole area revolving around it. Specifically, this area. This is my safari area. When Dolores came to town, she brought into the Town Tale Safari. You can build up a little thing, get these little vans, special fencing for animals and whatnot. And then it's too bad we can't get her again. That's just unfortunate. The other event, and this one was kind of like the last event that I did on my previous tablet, was the summer camp when Joe Agate came to town. This particular summer camp isn't just like a memorable one to me, but it's memorable to other players because this Joe Agate summer camp was unusual in the fact of two things. One, that was the year summer camp rained. Usually when we get summer camp, which happens during June or July, depending on how it works, it's a sunny summer camp thing. This year we had paleontology camp, so camp was a little different. But when Joe Agate came to town as the first antagonist, which is another interesting thing about that, the first antagonist to come to town was the camp that rained. And during this event, and this is the second thing that was so memorable about this, was Pixel did something that they haven't recreated, and they really should try to recreate this in another event. They've done one thing during that rainy summer camp event that they haven't ever done before, and that was they changed the view of the town. Even though it rained during that, when you played through the event and you're going around on the screen in this, it looked like you were looking outside of your window on a rainy day. There was even like the little lines that indicated rain that actually happened in the town. And I thought that was so amazing. It's really, really cool. Usually when seasons change, like the bushes and stuff, they turn color and whatnot. But we don't really get like a raining effect or like a Halloween where someone suggested maybe for one of these Halloween events, we can have the town going on at night. You know, they haven't recreated an event like that. Maybe when they do Christmas, they'll do something like that where it's snowing in town. Who knows? That's all on the development team at Pixel. Next question, and ooh, I like this one. Which character did you personally have incentive into introducing into Snoopy's Town Tale? Wow. I love these questions. These are some of the craziest questions as I sip my punch. The main character that I want to talk about is Five. And when it came to the time about it, they were talking about characters that should be introduced into the game. And the one I brought up to the development team, well, not directly to the development team, but mentioned on their Facebook page, is at the time, it was time to introduce Five to the town. And as luck would have it, not only did they bring Five to town, but also sporting events. I think the World Cup of Soccer was going around. So we had some worldly flags and the soccer stadium come in. And I thought that was really cool. Another character that I talked about should be in the game that wasn't was Roy. And Roy, to those who don't know, plays the very important role in the world of the little folks, because Roy is the one who introduced Peppermint Patty to Charlie Brown. And it was nice when he finally came to town because, he had that vital link that was much needed. Other characters that have come in, like Rover and Molly Volley, and some of Snoopy's siblings, many characters like that were thought about by the community. The community suggested that, which goes back to the whole reason why this game has been around for so long and successfully. The community aspect is really good on it. I don't fully take credit for introducing 5, but when you suggest certain characters, you keep it under low. It's not like a flex or anything, but hey, certain characters that you might suggest may just end up in your towns. Next question. You said before that Snoopy's Town Tale was based off of the events of the Peanuts movie. So where in the game does it stop after the Peanuts movie? This was a really good question. And the answer actually is here. The park. The park is the last chapter that takes place from the events of the Peanuts movie. Again, as you have mentioned, and as I've said it before, this game is based off of the Blue Sky animated film of the Peanuts movie. And the majority of that film goes up to these chapters. Let me tap on that. There we go. And as you go through the movie, it starts out in the winter, then it goes into the spring, and it ends in the summer, before summer camp. Yeah. But essentially, the park and playground is the last chapter revolving around the movie. It was after that 2 more chapters came into play. The first chapter that came into play, even before I was ready for it, was the circus. And the circus was a really interesting chapter because it introduced another character. And I'll talk about characters momentarily. And then after the circus, we got the amusement park, which a lot of people think the amusement park is based off of the events of the Peanuts movie, but no, it is not. Next question. Where do the character pool, in your opinion, for Snoopy's Town Tale come from? Well, the pool for the characters come from 3 different places. 1, the comic strip itself. 2, the animation. The regular animation. And 3, in the animated movies. A good example of characters from the animation would be Polly. And Polly is the character who we get introduced to in the circus. There was actually an animated deal revolving around Polly. And Polly actually is the original owner of Fifi, which that was an interesting thing. I never saw The Life as a Circus Charlie Brown, and when I finally did, it brought back some really interesting lore for Fifi. And it made a lot of sense how Fifi's role comes in, because I'm talking about this because the next question asks, what's the whole deal with Fifi? Fifi was one of the dogs that Polly had in her circus that Snoopy managed to fall for. And while going at the circus, he assumed his lovely identity of Hugo the Great. So when he went to leave the circus, he wanted Fifi to go with him, but she stayed. And we didn't see Fifi until the Peanuts movie when she got this redesign where she looks like a beagle. Many of the characters that have revolved around Snoopy's Town Tale have been, again, from many of these sources. More times than not, as a lot of the recent characters have been added, are based off the comic strips. We get some characters from the animation. Truffles was in the animation. Dolores was in a special animation. And even Mimi, who was from one of the animated movies. Next question. What was the real reason why Snoopy's Town Tale changed from CGI to the comic style? What they tell you is that this change came from the honor of the 70th anniversary of the comic strip. And that is the everyday answer that you'll be told. That's the everyday answer everyone will tell you. The big answer, however, is this. Like I said before, it's based off of the Peanuts movie, the CGI film. And many players, myself included, were experiencing very nasty slowdowns and others even crashes because at the time of updates, devices, whether it be tablets, Kindle Fires, phones, they would run supremely sluggishly using the CGI. So when they updated it to the comic style, gameplay was a lot smoother for many people playing Snoopy's Town Tale, myself included. It was rough when you get a slowdown, so where you could move this and it's like chunky network. Even if you have a really fast internet connection, it's still super, super slow chunk. I'm going to take one more question on this. Let me get a decent one here. Oh man, somebody actually asked this. I guess I better figure this one out too. I'll talk about this one here. This is obviously from someone who's been watching this series, so I might as well talk about that. Who is the black boy with the watch on his arm and the glasses? I have never seen him in any of the Peanuts cartoon strips anywhere. Of course you haven't. That is me peanutized. When the Peanuts movie was around, they had this thing called a peanutizer, where you can essentially make an avatar of yourself or a characterization of yourself in the world of the Peanuts, our little folks and whatnot. They later did one for the dogs called a Snoopy-tizer. I never fiddled with that. But yes, even though it was in the CGI style, it allowed kids, watchers of the movie, to, make themselves a part of the little folks' world. And on an interesting note about the Peanuts movie, and this is something I found out from others in the community, and I guess I'll take a couple seconds to talk about it, is even though we're getting some new characters come in here in the comic book style, some of them have actually appeared in the Peanuts movie. From what people have told me in the community, Jose Peterson actually was in the Peanuts movie. And it makes a lot of sense because a good majority of the characters in this game had a CGI version of themselves in the Peanuts movie. I'm going to have to take the time to go through my DVD of this movie with a fine-tooth comb to actually see if I can find Jose Peterson myself. And honestly, I'm looking forward to that challenge. So even though Jose Peterson appeared during the CGI era of this game, or not the CGI era, the comic version era of this game, he appeared in the CGI film. Must have been walking around somewhere throughout the school, because that's going to be interesting to see. Snoopy's Town Tale, folks, is a very interesting simulation game. For a game that's based off of a town that's pretty much run by kids, it definitely has a place in the world. And my hope is that before she passes on from this mortal world, Gene Schultz actually considers some of the more obscure characters and adds them to the new animated series. If not her, Lee Mendelson should do this as well, because I would love to see, I would love to see Charlotte Brown in the actual animated in the actual animated series that's on Apple. She has earned her dues, especially because a pissed off writer decided, well, her character needed to die. And giving her character new life in this game, and this is something a lot of people talk about. Oh, I've completed that task and getting 2,000 or 200,000 for Snoopy's dad. My dad and I have so much in common. We both love cards and cookies. It's almost like we're family. You are family. You're his son. I get so excited when I know that family is coming to visit. The only problem is that we run out of cookies too quickly. Caught with your paws in the cookie jar. Oh, and that was it for Snoopy's dad. Look at that. I'm done with all of his tasks. Thank you guys so much for enjoying this time on Q&A. Thank you for giving me your questions that I have taken this opportunity to answer. Don't be afraid to leave questions in the comments section below. I do my best to answer every last one that comes my way. So I hope that you guys aren't afraid to ask questions, because we're all a part of the community here, and the community is really good. I'll see you guys in the next update. But for now, I take my goose from the oven because I'm done. Bye-bye, everybody.